On the same note, the 39th Annual Educational Assessment Conference closed on Friday after 5 days of benchmarking sessions. The engagement attracted 330 delegates from over 26 countries who serve in different capacities in examination bodies across the globe. The mantle to carry the presidency of the Association for Educational Assessment in Africa landed on Kenya as a host country, with Dr. David Njengere, CEO of the Kenya National Examinations Council, being crowned president. Here are the details. The push for education reforms is a pertinent issue in Kenya and across the continent. Central to the education reforms in Kenya is an education system that has been designed to address relevance and inclusion of performing arts. In 2017, the government embarked on the most comprehensive education reform since 1981, which saw the introduction of the competency-based curriculum. An auspicious event that convened 330 education assessment stakeholders across 26 countries held a conference in Nairobi to reaffirm their commitment to reform assessment systems across 5 sub-regions, that is Western, Eastern, Central and Southern Africa sub-regions. CEO of the Kenya National Examination Council, Dr. David Njengere, took over from Mr. Patrick Aregan, CEO of West Africa Examinations, as president of the Association for Educational Assessment in Africa, where he was leading the board for 3 years.
CEOs take responsibility for every good thing and every bad thing that happens to an organization. So I also pay homage to the outgoing president, Mr. Patrick Aregan, who has steered us very well for the last 3 years. And I'm glad that he will continue to serve in Exco so that he can continue to give us his wisdom.
As a key to unlocking performing arts, the new education curriculum, CBC, was lauded by players in the sports and music industry, with delegates reporting possible adoption of the framework of assessment back to their countries.
I have come as an examiner, and I've been examined in Kenya here one time because I sat for KCPE and KCSE in Kenya. And today I have come as an examiner in South Sudan. Is a privilege. This is the type of learning that is needed in 21st century, actually, for life to catch up quickly.
Among the international delegations included CITO International, which has been working with CBC to develop an assessment framework for the last 5 years.
Well, we started in 2018, and that was the time that the framework for competency-based assessment for grade 3 had been developed and been piloted. And a framework for grade 6 and grade 9 and grade 12 needed to be developed. And we came in when they had finished the pilot for grade 3 and they wanted to get into the other parts. And so the first thing we did for KNEC was we helped them out. We assisted, they did most of the work obviously, in building a framework for competency-based assessment that connects the curriculum to the way it is assessed. And from this framework onwards, item writers can make items, produce tests that are aligned with the new curriculum.
Susanna Owio, all-time rugby star Colin Sinjera, and celebrated athletes Catherine Dereva and Douglas Wakihuri expressed the need to assess performing arts and have more performing arts institutions that will nurture the holistic nature of young people. Their stories, though with the challenge of the 844 system, supported their views on the implementation of the CBC.
The story would have been different. Like from my background or from my experience at a younger age, just trying to make my way through music, following my passion and stuff, without the facilities available. But if we had facilities, like if we had them then, the story would have been different. In a way, I think there would have been more more people like me.
It is again said that most students who go through Kenyan and African curriculums as a whole end up not practicing in the given fields. To mitigate this, the conference communique proposed for Africa to have common assessment standards, which according to Dr. Mafura Kometsi, CEO Umalusi, will allow mobility of labor.
Africa needs common standards so as to allow mobility of labor, with our students having qualified from our different institutions in different countries. They must not be tied up to the country of their birth. We are one Africa, and there should be mobility of labor from one country to the other. What has to happen is that we have to, first of all, establish the standards against which the arts are going to be assessed. We have to pull together the artists themselves because they know the arts better. Like the people we heard this morning in the hall, they've walked the path. It's unlike the professors who have only been theorizing about the arts.
The primary members of the association represent 21 countries, including Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, South Sudan, Ghana, Rwanda, among others.
National assessment in Africa, you will hit the skies. The sky will not be your limit. You will achieve more than all your activities.
As Africa reimagines education for all, the just-ended conference in educational assessment is a step in the right direction. The event brought in 330 delegates across 26 countries, serving in different examination bodies. The theme this year was Educational Assessment for Nurturing Every Learner's Potential. The 40th summit will be hosted by Dr. Mafura Kometsi in Cape Town, South Africa next year, August. Tracy Oching reporting for GBS News, Nairobi.